A very good afternoon to all of you and welcome to the webinar. I'll request Dr. Surbhi Kapoor to introduce our panelist. She's the Senior Professor with Faculty of Management Studies and is also taking care of the employability skills and the placement cell of the department. Surbhi ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Stuti. A very good afternoon to everybody. On behalf of the Manav Rachana family, we extend a very warm welcome to our esteemed guests, senior functionaries of the university, faculty, alumni, students, ladies and gentlemen in the audience. This is the fourth seminar to be hosted by the Faculty of Management Studies, Manav Rachana, and in its true spirit and endeavor towards student development and a strong industry alignment, the webinar today on scenario planning for budding managers post-COVID-19 would take cues from a very eminent panel of industry experts towards better preparedness for now and beyond. We are honored to have with us Mr. Musarrat Hussain, who is heading the Leadership and Functional School at Maruti Suzuki Training Academy and is on the board of trustee of Maruti Suzuki with 3 decades of rich experience in corporate HR and plant HR in diverse industry verticals, and as the head of corporate HR and HR transformation at the Maruti Suzuki India Limited, and the likes of Eicher, Goodyear, KHD, Humboldt, Vedag, and more. He has a unique experience of working with American, European, Indian, and Japanese corporates. Our other esteemed panelist is Mr. Satyaki Bhattacharjee, Managing Partner, Growthscapes, and a Change Management Practitioner, Tavistock Institute of Human Resources, London. With a professional career spanning close to 30 years, he has held several leadership roles in multiple Indian and MNC organizations across manufacturing, pharma, ITS, and media and entertainment industry. Prior to founding Growthscapes, he was the CHRO of an India media giant. Mr. Bhattacharjee has a rich experience in leadership development and coaching at the CXO level and of working in the area of OD in the European market. Our third panelist for the day and speaker is Mr. Gautam Srivastava, Head, Career Development Center, Manav Rachana. With over 27 years of corporate experience in the field of sales, operations, customer engagement, and strategy, he was the internal lead for sales training using the SPANCO process developed by Xerox Corporation, with association with media giants like Times of India and HD Media and the like. So I'm sure this is going to be a very, very interesting and a very, very interactive kind of afternoon today. The final panelist and the final speaker that we have is our own alumni speaker and industry guest, Mr. Sameen Ahmed Chishti. With 6 years of experience in sales and marketing, he has worked with Nokia and the advertising giant J. Walter Thompson before turning his attention to the sports industry with one of the oldest French tennis brand, Babolat, and is currently working as a national sales manager with Painter Brand Limited. Our gratitude, sirs, for sparing your time and a very, very warm welcome to our webinar.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Welcome. Bringing things to perspective, while Corona has launched the whole world into an arena of uncertainty, organizations think of revival, resilience, performance, employees of survival, sustenance and salary, and students of skill sets. But one thing is clear, that the planet is taking a gap here. And now we take stock and prepare ourselves for this gap and beyond. This is what we talk about today. Beyond that, what we expect is the industry update in the current economy setting. Who would be scouting to hire now? The sunrise sectors, so to say, the opportunities. What would be the new normal for employability? That extra which would help students become more relevant and managers more sought after and sustainable. This webinar is a rare opportunity for us to hear from the leaders and experts, and as they say, from the horse's mouth. May I now invite our expert panelist and speaker, Mr. Musarrat Hussain, to take over the proceedings. Welcome, sir.
Thanks, Dr. Surabhi, and thank you for inviting, and very warm good afternoon to everyone, including my co-panelists. Before I start, basically, I would like to give a perspective on the entire business and economic scenario. In a nutshell, I'll not go into too much of detail, but it's important for everyone to understand what's actually happening. And
Sure.
One has to understand the reality of what's happening, because we have many things which is being talked about without going into details. And then what, as a student, or what is the employment scenario, where we have to tackle, what all we need to do is very important for each and every one of us, that post COVID and even beyond, what's going to happen. So let us understand very briefly. Whatever I am trying to say is basis the information that we have got from various conferences, seminar, various papers released. So most of the data or anything that I am quoting is actually coming from some research. And I'll be happy to share all this with the students and you all. So let me show my screen. Just a minute. I think this GoToWebinar is something that most of the institutes are not using. They're using Zoom or WebEx, which we are more used to. So this
So
right
you
of
and you can run the PPT.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Let me just give me a minute to, because this adversity is teaching us to be, tech savvy and all. So that's also a good learning.
True.
Just let me see. Is my presentation visible to all?
Yeah.
You can even put it on slideshow mode.
Yeah, I'll put it, but is it visible?
It is visible,
Yes,
sir.
it's
It is
visible.
visible.
Okay. So I'll start from here. Basically, brief introduction. As you all know, this started from Wuhan, China, and the World Health Organization actually declared it as a pandemic on 11th of March. Quick rundown on this. We are on the 4th phase of our lockdown, and basically this is going to problem. Whole view I have to see.
Tuti, can you help us?
Yeah, just let me see, because entered kind of a screen where I can see people and maybe run PPT also.
So it doesn't matter if you're not able to see people, sir. The slide is
Okay.
visible.
So it's visible, and in fact, PPT is also visible.
Okay. Now we are in the 4th phase of this lockdown, which is going to end on 31st. We are not too sure whether this lockdown will be extended or not, but when I look at today's data, I find that we have already crossed 1 25,000 confirmed cases. So as you can see, there is a rapid increase in the numbers of confirmed cases, and all the more because number of tests has also gone up. Globally, if you will see, we have more than 49 lakh people uh, infected by COVID, and almost more than 3 lakhs casualties has already happened, and US is one of the most badly affected. India, we have been relatively successful till now because of the stringent lockdown and containment policies. And there is a estimated loss of almost 32,000 crores per day due to lockdown. And there are various estimates of GDP growth forecast. So basically, we are somewhere they are talking about a dip of 0.2% to 3.9%, something like that. But overall sentiments are very, very low. If you look in the news that Moody's, they had cut the forecast by 0.2%, but some of them are even talking about impact of more than 2%. Indian economy is going to take a hit of almost 7 to 8 lakh crores. And already you have seen that in the month of April and May, there has been a April almost zero production, and May, in fact, if I talk about my industry, the production is just started and it is going to be almost negligible. Then pandemic impact, people are talking about that this may swallow 1 in 10 jobs in India. And of course, there are a lot of many things which you can must be seeing in newspaper every day. Now, it is important to understand impact of COVID across business, because we are talking about various categories where how the impact will be, and in terms of impact, whether it is a moderate, high, or severe, and whether the recovery is in short term, medium term, or long term. Short term, we are talking about 6 months maybe. Medium term is around 7 to 12 months, and long term is greater than 12 months. These are basis insights from McKinsey and a couple of other sources. So, as you can see, drugs and pharma, this is very moderately impacted. Even in the start of the lockdown, this industry was already working. And even in China, almost 85% pharma companies are actually working. And the recovery also, if there is a little bit of dip in their business, recovery will be short term, because this is one sector where uh, what we see is that even recruitment or their employment scenarios is going to remain almost neutral, or maybe some short term hiccups will be there, but I don't see in the mid and long term any problem. When we talk about retail and wholesale, now in retail and wholesale, there has been a immediate severe impact, but recovery will be in short term. See, when we talk about non-food item, there is a severe impact. But when we talk about the food items, it's not impacted very much, though the high-end retails in the malls and all are impacted. But single shops have already been allowed, and then e-commerce companies like Amazon and many other grocers, many others in different cities are doing online food item deliveries. So this is going to recover once the pent up demand is there, and there is recovery in the economy. I don't see any challenge, and in terms of layoffs or in terms of hiring, I don't see too much of challenge here. This industry is quite on track, but yes, there has been a severe hit because of lockdown. When we talk about logistics, yes, initially impact is severe because no production activities was happening, so supply chain got impacted. But e-commerce supply chain is to recover fast. Government has already allowed interstate movement. Cargo traffic is picking up. So I see this logistics industry coming back in the medium term. The moment the industry revives, the entire supply chain starts moving. So it's a short-term impact. Now coming to my sector, which is automotive. Here I would like to talk about a little bit. See, automotive had been actually deeply impacted from last year itself, where the overall sales across commercial passenger vehicle, two-wheelers, tractors had actually contracted to almost down by 18%, due to multiple reasons. Last 1.5 year, one being the changeover from emission norm from Euro 4 to Euro 6, where companies were on deep strain because of huge investment in conversion, and then the government coming up with EVs, saying that two-wheelers will have to do away with their conventional bike, and by 2025 and 2023 they will have to switch over to EV. Huge impact. Similarly, when we talk about GST, when it came, the GST also impacted because across various categories of car, GST became almost 28% with surcharge at different categories. Whereas in the excise norm for a smaller car, excise was much lower. Now that subdued the demand, and then government came up with the policy of 3 year of third-party insurance, which also added to the cost. Liquidity was not very easily available. Lot of NPAs in banks, so that was another factor. Rising fuel prices, again another factor, and then a lot of safety and crash norm coming in, which is also adding to the cost of vehicle. So all this coupled with the policies of the government and the people actually deferring their buying plan because of wanting to wait for Euro 6 vehicle. The entire 1920 was a very, very bad year. In fact, it was the worst in last 20 years. Now on top of it, in March when we went into lockdown, this is a double whammy for the auto industry, which was already reeling under pressure. Now estimates are industry will be down by 25 to 45%. Uh, Recovery for commercial vehicle we expect to be within 7 to 12 months. The impact on passenger vehicle will be the most severe, maybe more than 12 months. We expect recovery by maybe pre-COVID level by maybe 2022, not before that. Two-wheelers, yes, can bounce back with the fiscal stimulus by the government. Government has to ensure that demand is created. The mobility itself is changing, but one good sign here is that in China, because of the social distancing, people are actually going for small cars or two-wheelers. So if that also applies in India, then we see that there will be a lot of sale for second-hand car, and there will be lot of sale for small cars. However, the government has to ensure that demand is created by uh, looking into the GST and all those. So that's about automotive. In short, uh, other in sectors which will going to be impacted, of course, is entertainment, where because of social distancing, the impact is going to be severe and recovery long term. Tourism and hospitality is another sector which is going to be very badly impacted. I see a lot of job cuts in these areas and lesser job getting created here. In fact, they will be the one who would be deferring their hiring plan because of lot of heightened risk and aversion to travel. People will avoid tourism, so aviation will be badly affected. Hotel industry will be badly affected. Even in corporate, because of this lockdown and the new norm, all the business meeting will be done virtually. So less of travel, and by that less usage of hotel. So this is a big area which is going to be impacted. Electronics is in the short term, yes, but in the long term, what we feel that because the electronic industry in India is highly dependent on China. and there will be huge shortage of components. So this industry is going to see long-term recovery, not going to come up so fast. MSMEs, yes, they are highly impacted because of the kind of liquidity crunch that they are facing. They have cash flows issues, and in the Atmanirbhar package that government has given, there is some life for MSMEs, but still what they are looking for is not there. And until unless the entire value chain comes back, MSMEs will be under tremendous pressure. There will be lower exports due to recessionary pressure across the globe. So MSMEs are one big sector employing around 37 million people, will be under real pressure. When we talk about reality and infra, it was also badly impacted right from the subprime crisis of 2008 and 9. And reality and infra had actually not picked up to that level. But now with this, there is going to be a high impact. But then, with the government stimulus, uh, we hope that this sector should revive, but the uh, rental segment, commercial rental segment will go down post COVID, because if you look at, say, Cyber Hub, for example, all the offices are on rent by DLF or Unitech. Now, till July, everybody is working from home. So now companies are realizing that they don't need such a big office. People can work from home, and that will actually uh, bring a new norm where the size of offices will reduce, and that will highly impact the rental market. So that's going to be long term, in the sense that sector, I don't see too much of traction in this sector uh, for quite some time. Of course, there are a lot many things in the news. Because of paucity of time, I'll not talk about it. But IMF has actually already projected a GDP uh, line of almost 3% in 2020, and Goldman Sachs is also talking about shrinkage in the GDP by almost 45% in Q1, and so on and so forth. Japan, third largest, biggest economy, is also slipped into recession. These are all latest news, and you would have already seen that many companies in India had zero production, zero sale, first time ever in the history. And now let us look at the job scenario in India, which is also very important from the student point of view. There was a CII snap call done for CEO very recently, last month only, where about 52% of the CEOs anticipate job losses in their respective sector post lockdown, and 47% of the firm expect up to 15 to percent of job losses, and another 15 to 30% job loss. Almost 32% people polled have talked about it. So this is about the expected job loss. As you can see, this was a quick snap poll done in April, which is actually not very favorable. When we look at this trend, which is very important, this was a kind of a study done by Naukri.com, which is into the hiring space. This is beautiful. Here they are talking about scenario where, as you can see, in April already the hiring had actually come down. And when you look at sector wise, I'll talk about sectors. So IT and software, when we are looking at IT and software, almost 49% dip is there in the hiring trend. When I talk about BPO, ITES, almost 60% dip. Pharma, they are talking about 54% dip, so they will remain flat or not. New growth will be there, but yes, they are on track. Oil and gas, there will be a dip by minus 62% with lesser cars and low demand. Oil industry is also facing a big problem. Hotel, restaurant, travel, airline, which I talked about, minus 91%, so almost no hiring. There is a hiring freeze, or rather, they will go for layoff. Banking, minus 67%. insurance minus 42, and auto ancillary minus 82. So you can see that already these are projected figures. And when I talk about hiring trend across experience level, 0 to 3 year where the freshers would also fall, minus 67% degrowth, and people above 16 years of experience, there is a dip of minus 50%. And when I look at functional areas, biggest dip is in the management, HR, administration, minus 78%, and the lowest, I mean, is IT software where there is a dip of 51%. But in other sector also, you can see marketing 69%, production, accounts, finance 68%. So overall sentiment is not good. This is about hiring and layoff due to COVID. This is because of the impact on business. Now, when we look at some real-time scenarios, so aviation already Indigo, Go Air, Air India, SpiceJet, Tata SIA, and many more, they have already announced uh, something like pay cuts. They have talked about layoff. They have talked about taking leave without pay. And then Go Air has terminated contract of expat pilots, curtailed operation. And look at manufacturing. Reliance already announced that they will go for a cut of 10% for people below 15 lakh, and above 15 lakh they have various slabs. Mukesh Ambani is to forego entire remuneration for the year. Tata groups have also announced salary cuts across their hotel and couple of other industry like aviation, which is impacted. Apollo top management have taken a cut in the range of 15 to 25%. This is just indicative. There is a whole laundry list of companies whose what they have done is already announced. Hospitality, of course, OYO, they have reduced fixed income by 25%. Hyatt has laid off 1,300 employees. So on and so forth. I don't want to paint a very gloomy picture, but these are certain facts. Ola, Uber has laid off 1,400 employees. Uber 5 to 700. Make My Trip. Swiggy, Zomato. Swiggy has just laid off 1,100 people 2 days back, and it's in the news. Retailers like Shoppers Stop, Reliance Retail, Future, Tata, now they are facing the music, but at the moment they have not done anything. But in case the situation is bad, then they will resort to job cuts. And so is real estate, news and journalism. In fact, even in Times of India and News Nation, these were all announced. There were a lot of cuts which happened here. Now these are all indicative, which is there from public domain. If you, these are all news item, Hyatt, Swiggy. Even they are talking about the startups. They 20% of them may face the problem if they do not get funding. In America, almost 20.5 million people have actually lost job in April, and I was just hearing in the news that 24 lakh people have also registered for unemployment toll, as you call it in US. So situation globally is grim. Rolls-Royce is planning to fire up to 8,000 employees. So these are all there. Now, quickly, because time is running out, let me talk about some of the economic recovery. So there are various recovery theories which are being floated. Bloomberg has all these details. So we are talking about V-shaped recovery, which is quick recovery after lockdown. U-shape, which is after a year. And then we have L-shape, which is what we are most likely to see for India, where it will be slow and gradual. Dip will be very large. It will not be immediate. And then there are W-shape also recovery, where post opening after COVID, if we see number of cases going up, some government may have to resort to another lockdown, phase 2 of lockdown, which will actually make it W-shape. And then for certain European and developed countries, they are talking about Nike swoosh or tick kind of a recovery, where dip will be high, but then there will be a quick recovery, and then there will be a slow recovery to reach the pre-crisis level. So these are all available on Bloomberg site. Then there is a Atmanirbhar package we are talking about, where surplus by RBI is already there, where we see high impact going to come. But there are a lot of areas where, for example, our dealership, they are not covered under MSME, and they are actually facing a lot of problem. And now they are reaching out to the government that they be declared MSME, so that the equity infusion which is there for MSMEs, they can also benefit. So these are all available on the and still the Atmanirbhar package is being debated how it is going to impact. It is talked about as 10% of GDP, but some estimate says that it is less. So lot of debate happening. Keep track of it on the news and newspapers. You will get to know. But these are a stimulus which is definitely going to help. But more is required from the government in terms of various other sectors which is actually untouched here. And this is the point where I want to discuss very quickly, which is very important for all the students, is that there will be a new norm going forward. Full-time job will be reduced. Gig economy will come up in a big way. Fixed cost companies will try to reduce, and lot of things will be outsourced, which was actually not thought about earlier. Remote and digital working will be the new norm. Lot of company and technology company will come up in this space. Lot of jobs is going to be created. Social distancing will create a new behavioral change in the workplace, including hotels and many other places. So we have to keep watching that space. Salaries will become more unfixed, more variable, because earlier we had fixed portion of 70, 80%, 60%, and remaining variable. Now it's going to be a new norm where it could be 50-50, like you have in US. But lot of new jobs will be created, as I'm talking about. Already in the learning space and many space, so many companies have actually mushroomed. Localization is going to happen in a big way. Lot of industries are actually going to come to India, maybe some from China and other countries. I see light at the end of the tunnel in localization. Already in automotive sector, lot of localization has already been done, but our dependence on import is also very high in certain categories. That has to reduce. That is the impetus. Lot of impetus on research, uh, and that will create new jobs. Digital economy will have a major boost. So I see a lot of traction happening here. Similarly, couple of things which was the norm in the past will change. People will have to change quickly. Agility will be seen. Uh, kind of agility that people have. Resilience is what will take people far in their career. We cannot have a fixated mindset. I was also happy to see that in the space of education, a lot of changes is happening. Even schools are running on virtual platform. Colleges are running on virtual platform, and UGC just 2 days back has approved a proposal to allow students to pursue 2 degrees program simultaneously. One has to be a full-time program, and one they can do online. So a lot of things is going to happen where skilling of people will be much faster. It will not be an assembly line. People can do multiple things at the same time. But for the student community, uh, just relying on your degree will not help. You will have to get into lot of certification online, pick up languages which will help you in the short term and long term. Do such courses, and pick up certain courses on cloud computing, big data, analytics, artificial intelligence, and so on and so forth. There are a host of them available from various Indian colleges, even overseas. And AICT is also going to recognize all these in a short while. So reskilling and e-learning adoption shall emerge faster, because this space is going to change very, very fast. Even if I talk about from Maruti's point of view, we have seen that in the last 2 months, uh, through e-learning and online, we have been able to achieve much better results in the space of capability building. In fact, we are able to do gamification and simulation online. So that's a big area where I see a lot of opportunities. And lot of small ventures and new opportunities will be created. New startups will start. New entrepreneur and micro entrepreneurs will also come. Government has to, and in the field of education technology also, we'll see a lot of changes happening. In fact, I come to the end, and let me tell you that in the recession of 2008 and 9, the best part was that companies like WhatsApp, Airbnb, Uber, all were created during that adversity. So I am very, very optimistic, but we have to be, we cannot be oblivious of the current fact, and we should, our strategy has to be very, very correct. So this is what I wanted to share. Maybe few questions I can take, and this is what I have to share from my side. So I can take questions. Otherwise, in the end, we can take either way. These are few things that I quickly wanted to share because coming to the realities is very, very important.
So, thank you
Yeah,
so much, sir. And we can take some questions. Yes, sir, Gautam, so you were saying something?
No.
Okay. So we can take questions at the end also, sir. Just one question that I would like to ask is then whom pointedly the sunrise sectors, so to say, where now our students can, though you have painted a wonderful picture, an all comprehensive one about the various impacts on the various industry and the sort of those industries which could give us more opportunities. But still, one last word about the sunrise sector, so to say, where we can see more opportunities in comparison.
see, in this sector, there will be more e-commerce companies actually emerging, and this is one
Yes.
sector because of the social distancing. This is going to catch up in a big way. In fact, industries like in the food industry, for example, hotels, people will not like to go to restaurants very often. So the home deliveries will pick up. So that is one sector where they will actually change their business model itself. And similarly, a couple of other sectors which is going to emerge. In fact, I'm very much sure that there will be a lot of startups coming up now, and impetus will be given to many other startups. Education industry, uh, going technology oriented and all, is a one big area where I see a lot of opportunity. High tech industries, in industries which are into technology, are going to actually be much benefited with this COVID thing. But the bread and butter hardcore industries, manufacturing, uh, they will remain, but their cycle of growth will be little different depending on how demands are created. But the many other industries, for example, pharma, is going to pick up, because that is one industry which is agnostic of all this. And
Great, sir.
retail, again, I see no challenge in retail, and maybe online retail will move up. But industries like fashion, tourism, industries like entertainment are going to take a hit, because today entertainment, people are more happy to watch Netflix sitting at the comfort of their home. So there is a big change. So what do you do with PVR, which has invested tons of money not only in India but abroad? They are going to face a challenge. So the strategy in terms of reaching out to the right kind of companies is also very important, because definitely some industry it will be a clear, and we should be very much clear in advance that when they are going for job cuts, definitely they are not going to hire. So we should be very clear on our strategy.
Absolutely, sir. So wonderful, wonderful interaction, sir, and wonderful insights into the general scenario across industry. Thank you so much, sir. And we'll come back to you with multiple questions. We move on to our second panelist, Mr. Satyaki Bhattacharya. I request you, sir, to give us some inputs about whatever you think is very relevant at this time.
Okay, ma'am.
Over to you, sir.
Extremely very cherished and highly placed panel. My greetings to all of you, especially Mr. Musharraf Hussain for giving the detailed information. Dr. Gautam and Mr. Shamim. You see, I make my breads, I run my career, I feed people by giving solutions. So my view is completely very mechanistic, solution-oriented view. Whereas all this reality is correct. I think we are talking to students, and we are here as elders, as who have seen the world little more than them, to give them solutions tomorrow morning what they are going to do. And this is what I am coming to say tomorrow morning what they are going to do. I do not know how many students are listening. Could you tell me a count how many students are listening?
There are quite a few, sir,
There are
around
65
Fine,
students,
great.
right?
Fine. So 65 future managers of the country right now, what they need to do. We are talking of scenario planning. I would first ask them, do they know the basics of career planning? And with the guidance of Mr. Gautam, my suggestion is first thing that they should do is they should do a self-assessment of where they stand today in terms of what is happening. And what is happening, all that Mr. Musharraf Hussain said is the reality. But that's a global phenomena. That's a national phenomena. What is happening to each and every individual? I think each and every individual, they should do a self-assessment. That what is it that I lack and what is it that I'm strong at. I must tell you, and I repeat what Dr. Musharraf has said, I don't see this as a doomsday. Whereas there are many people who are hiring, there are many companies which are cutting pays. Let me tell you, Asian Paints has increased pay. Amazon is increasing pay. There is a hospital which is going to hire 150 people. There is a media company which has already advertised in LinkedIn to hire 200 people. So when there is war, there is devastation. But there are also pockets which are saved. I think the scenario planning is Mr. Gautam and his team should get into proper scenario planning. If this happens, what is it that I am going to do? For next 1 month, what are the students going to do? In terms of what are the industries that they should approach? Should they approach a Maruti? Should they approach a Telco? Or should they approach an Airtel? Or should they approach a TikTok, which is now hiring a CEO? I'm telling you, this is the best time to hire for certain companies. We have hired 8 people at senior levels in our organization, which is a consulting organization. So what is it that we need to do as students? We need to take a magnifying glass, and instead of reading the news, we should get into doing research. Everybody knows what is happening. Everybody knows what is the latest count of COVID infected worldwide, COVID infected nationally, death worldwide and death nationally, even in the local district. What we do not know is what should I do now? And that is where scenario planning comes in. Each and every student should take a magnifying glass and sit on the drawing board with the career counseling team and first do a self-assessment. Where am I standing? मैं कहाँ खड़ा हूँ? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? And not only that, you see, today management education is all about taking loans. Most of the students may have taken loans, either in their name or in their parents' name. The first thing that they should try and do is they should start towards becoming debt-free. Because only when they become debt-free, they can think of anything else. And how do they become debt-free if they don't get a job? You see, what we don't tell our students is, whereas we appreciate that we should encourage them to be on their own, we rarely encourage them to start anything on their own. We only think of one E, which is employment. We never tell our children, we never tell our students, we never tell our family members that, okay, take 1 year, start something new. If nothing happens, we'll come back. Take this risk. Have we not all taken risks? We all have taken risks. If we do not take risks, we are putting them into a rut of looking for jobs, not getting them, and then getting depressed. I think as career counseling people, we should get them into self-assessment and find out how many of them can actually become entrepreneurs. There are scientific ways and means to find out, measure their motivations, and we should tell them, you should go for employment, you should go for this kind of industry, you should go for this kind of industry. It is possible. There are organizations, there are institutions which are doing it. Worldwide management institutes, business schools are doing it. So this is really not a doomsday. There are many opportunities there. There are many areas which have not been bombed in the war. We just have to find out which are those areas. These areas will not be known to us if we read news. These areas will be known to us if we start doing research. That's one thing. The second thing is, if you look at data, 2007, 2008, and as Mr. Hussain said, 2009, most people who have passed out from the business schools in India and abroad are doing very well now. So 2007 will be, let's say, 10, 12 years back. Imagine a 12-year-old experience, person with an MBA. Is he not doing well? Sure, the person is doing well. And why the person is doing well? Because at that point of time, the person had one mindset, which is, I will experiment. I will not say no to this, and I will not only get stuck that I will only say yes to this. This is the time for people to experiment. They must experiment. If we get into this, that I will only do this, I will only do a job, and I will only do a job in this kind of an organization, I'm telling you, for those kind of mindsets, this is a bad time. For those kind of students who are willing to experiment, for those kind of students who feel that I can manage my finances, let me get debt free, and who can shift from the classical mindset, willing to experiment, I think it is not a problem. The world has far more opportunities than it had 25 years back. One day COVID will go away. This is reality. How many people it takes away, that's different. The other reality is tuberculosis has not gone away. But did we all get infected by tuberculosis? No. We will develop immunities. HIV has not gone away. Have we developed HIV? No. So there are ways of looking at it. I think as elders, we should give them confidence. We should just leave them. We should tell them, like Dr. Hussain said, we should not be oblivious of the facts that are happening. But apart from that, we should motivate them, go explore. After the self-assessment, in fact, I have made a diagram. After the self-assessment, what they should do is they should really get into scenario planning. That for next 2 months, I will look for this kind of opportunity in this kind of sector. The third thing that they should do is they should reskill. The biggest problem with Indian MBAs is after doing MBA, they think they have arrived. I am telling you, an MBA gives only a frame of mind, nothing else. Nothing else. It just gives you a frame of mind how to think logically. If all of the 60 to 65 students who are listening to this, if you feel that after having done your MBA and after Manav Ratna gives you degree, they are supposed to give you job, they are supposed to give you life, they are supposed to give you career, you are mistaken. You are grossly mistaken. You have to make sure that you get into a profession which can also be not a job of employment. People don't think like this. How can we think in the old way in the new normal? Can we actually think? Or the new normal is just to write in the magazines and read in the newspaper and speak in the webinars? It is not. It is to tell our children, it is to tell our students, it is to tell our mentees, think different. It is for ourselves to say yes to things when they say things differently. If we change our mindset, they will change their mindset. We should increase their risk orientation. We should not say, no, 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 Baba, don't do this. This is too risky. Please don't do this. As parents, as elders, this is the shift we need to make in our minds. We have to provide them solutions. The other thing which people do is the first thing they do after passing out is they make a CV and start putting them in companies. That is not going to work out. Today, you will not get a job by what you are. You will get a career, you will get a profession by who you know. In India, networking is very poor. We do not seek help. We don't know how to seek help. We think that if I seek help from Mr. Gautam or from Mr. Hussain, I will become small. How can I go and seek help? Seeking help is not in our blood. We don't train our children to seek help. We rather tell them, Kisi ka ehsan mat lo. That's wrong. We should tell our children, go seek help, go find out, go network, go how can we help. Say I am going to work here. Be assertive. This is the new mindset and this is going to work. And periodically, I think as elders who are teaching our children to look for professions, we should tell them to revise their goals. We should not tell them that this is a fixed goalpost. Those days are gone when the goalpost used to be girt in the soil. Today, the goalpost is portable. If this is a field which is not working, take the goalpost, shift somewhere else, start playing there and score goals there. That's the new mindset I feel we should have. And there are, like Dr. Hussain said, there are many industries which will revive back. In another 2 months, we will enter festive quarter. And I feel that, Diwali, Eid, Chandni Chowk already, Halchal has started, people have started shopping. I feel that Diwali, Durga Puja, they revive our economy. And we are an economy of 135 people. If everybody gives 10 rupees to everybody, economy starts running. I think we need to give them confidence. We need to make them achievement oriented. We need to tell them, go take risks. The problem is, elders, we only caution them. We don't tell them take risks. We should tell them that these are the facts available. Be aware of the facts. Don't be oblivious of the facts, yet take risks. That is what we need to tell our children. And I think that is what our responsibility is. So this is what I want to say, ma'am. Any questions from anybody, I'm happy to take.
Thank you so much, Mr. Satyaki.
One last thing I want to say is that this is my mentor told me that a long time back, 25 years, that treat yourself like a product. And at one point of time, Margo also changed, Lifebuoy also changed. All shampoos changed from transparent thin liquid to thick pearlizer liquids. So they also need to change. Every student must treat himself like a product, packaged well, speaks well, dresses well, willingness to serve any industry. No hang-ups in terms of I will not do the job. Just because I have taken an MBA, I can't get into a blue-collar job. No, it is nothing like that. I have worked in the as a line manager, as a frontline manager in Maruti, wearing uniforms. No harm in that. We learn only when we work at the front lines. So I think openness in mind is, we will open their mind. They will not open their mind. It is we who are responsible to open their mind. It is we who are responsible for their mindset. And if it is we who are responsible if they become close-minded. Sorry, ma'am.
Oh, thank you so much, sir. Wonderful, sir. You have actually made us believe that when life throws lemons at you, make lemonade. So that's exactly what we're going to do. And every adversity surely has an opportunity. While, as I said right at the beginning, that the planet is definitely taking a gap, but this is also a training period for all of us, as you have said. So training, whether it is digital, technology, communication, whatever it is, that is the buzzword now. And for a digital economy that we are seeing in the making, plus the seeking help part, that the idea about seeking help, that is very relevant. Yet yes, they need to seek help and we need to help. Thank you so much, sir. It was wonderful, and definitely we'll come to questions. The questions actually we've kept for the end. So we'll first go on to Mr. Gautam Srivastava and hear what he has to say, and then we come back for an open session for questions. Yes, Gautam sir, can we begin? Gautam sir, you there? Aman ma'am, can you help?
So Gautam, I think power has gone in
I
his
think,
house.
yeah, power.
There's no power, so I think
Okay, so
what
then maybe till I think he'll just take a minute or two. I'll in the meantime I'll just ask one question which I was itching to ask, but then I shifted to Mr. Gautam sir, just thinking about the time factor. So Mr. Bhattacharya, one question.
Yes,
Pointedly,
ma'am.
if I have to ask you that, yes, we have a set way of training our students, and definitely we've been aligning with the industry and we've been taking a lot of innovative measures and all that. And the set mold that was there of mock interviews and what we used to have, and we used to have GDs and whatever else that used to be lined up, even customized programs as as advised by the industry. What is that extra now, which is actually going to help us in a practical way of preparing our students? What is that? What is that single thing, or what are those multiple things or steps that we need to take now to cater to the present scenario and the post-COVID scenario? Which
Ma'am,
would
do you want
really,
to give, ma'am, do you want to give them fish or do you want to teach them fishing?
of course, teach them fishing, but
If
definitely
you
we'll
want
try
to
to,
teach them,
kind of push them near
if
the
you
lake.
want to, yeah, ma'am, I'm sorry, if you want to teach them fishing, then please deploy a career psychologist and make them go through certain interventions, which is the first part of self-assessment. They will know what is their risk-taking ability. They will know what is their fear quotient, and they will know what is it that they are made up of and which kind of careers they should choose. In our country, these kind of stuff are not done. It is only now that at class 8 and 9, students have been given certain assessments to find out where their bent of mind is. We never faced that. We followed the simple rule of first you clear 10th, then you clear 12th, then you become either a doctor or an engineer or an IAS or an ALAC, and then you feed for yourself. But that's not the way right now. There are scientific interventions available, if not at the school level, at least at the MBA level. Get out to people, reach out to people who will come to your organization, come to your school, take this band of 20 people, run them through such tests and tell them you are fit for this, go sharpen your search. So they will know where to search, how to search.
Okay.
That's my
Thank you so much. Thank you so
single
much.
statement answer. Second thing is, I also wanted to point out, since there are students hearing and it is getting to get time, since list of sunrise industries, the entire medical ecosystem is going to get a boost. The retail, as Dr. Hussain said, is going to get boost. Parts of telecom is going to get boost. Technical support is going to get boost. Logistics.
So can I just intervene? Can I just intervene? So I am getting an alert which says that we are running short of time. So can we just come back to this a little later?
Sure.
Yes, Gautam sir. We couldn't locate you, Gautam sir. That's why you went on.
Yeah, because just about my turn to speak, I think technology played havoc in terms of electricity. So sorry for that. And thank you, Mr. Hussain, as well as Mr. Bhattacharya, for your thought-provoking talk. I missed Mr. Samin there. So just quickly, due to shortage of time, just taking our discussion forward. Since I head employability as part of the Career Development Center here in Mount Rashna, so I could quite agree with what you're saying, and to give the perspective forward that every dark cloud has a silver lining. And I think for the youngsters, the millennials, and the budding managers, there's lots on their plate which they can do. Now, idea is, in terms of skill sets, when we are talking about scenario planning, I think what is important for them to understand is this ability to give options. It's about perspective. It's about diversity. So traditionally, a solution to an answer in terms of a black and white or a X and Y doesn't exist anymore.
Yes.
So I think what is very important is, and that what we are also doing as part of our faculty here in FMS, is to tell them that at any point of time, they need to be comfortable with looking at 3 options. Plan A doesn't work. Very quickly, they need to process to look at a plan B, then look at a plan C. Also, I think very important for this generation is to understand that while planning is important, you can't really take it too seriously. So while COVID is fine, why we are obsessed with COVID, but if we go slightly back, we were already facing headwinds and a recession in this country. And the VUCA world, the so-called world which was vague, a world which was uncertain, a world which was complex, and a world which was ambiguous was already here. So COVID might have just, accelerated that process, but everything was here. And what we actually need to do is to sensitize to this fact that they need to be aligned to the new normal. For example, skill sets in terms of employabilities, as you rightly said, the moment you pass out, jobs earlier were guaranteed. Today, when a student passes out, there is no guarantee for a job. And we are talking about lifelong learning, which basically means that learning needs to start now after graduating, compared to when we started our careers 2.5 decades, that the day we passed out, we had a passport to 2 jobs to each one of us and learning had stopped. So that is the kind of mindset change. That is the kind of resilience. I think that is the kind of a thought process which we need to and which we are inculcating in today's generations. The other thing is entire thing about matrix structures and dotted line reporting. Something which was not there when we started our careers, which we saw in the late 90s and the early 2000s. Because this generation needs to understand that there's going to be one direct boss and there are going to be 3 dotted line alignment bosses. So how do I handle 4 of them? I need different skill sets handling these 4 of them. So things like emotional quotient, things like resilience, things like ability to bounce back needs to be inculcated at a very, very young level. Not when a person has 10 or 12 years of experience, either when he is not even passing out. I mean, just to give you an example, exactly. So we at FMS here are teaching them employability skills, aptitude skills. I mean, today an engineer doesn't need to know a programming language like an R or a Python. A humanities graduate or a liberal arts graduate is studying R today, because tomorrow everything is converging. So jobs of the future is all technology led. Whether it's against the social media platform, against the mobile platform, against the analytics platform, or against the cloud platform. So I think these are the skills which each one of the students needs to now understand going forward. And as you rightly said, when we started our careers, whether we liked or not, we got jobs. Today, the millennials need to introspect, understand what is it that they like, what is their sense of purpose, what are the areas where their interest lies, and then can they align this to what they are going to do further in life. Because there are no 9 or 5 jobs. As Mr. Hussain Ozzy rightly said, we are talking about temp economy, we are talking about the gig economy, we are talking about the liberal economy. The entire focus now shifts to skills, to competencies. You need to be employable, you need to be deployable, and you need to be sustainable. Can we do that? I think in a nutshell, due to paucity of time, is my take on this.
Sure. Thank you so much, Gautam sir. Thank you very much, Gautam sir. And we definitely, not only that, sir, they need to build on their own unique USP. What a unique proposition they have. If they build on that also, whatever it is, I'm sure that is really going to help them. And also making them a little visible as in they have technology in their hands. They should be using LinkedIn and not really, because as Mr. Bhattacharjee also said, that applying for a job now may not be as useful as what I'm adding is as maybe being very visible on these social platforms where your own branding somehow is made. Then people organically itself, opportunities will come and people will get in touch with you, because after all, those people who are hiring also, they will also go to LinkedIn to find out what is the availability like or what is this fellow like. So I feel that the students have to be apprised of this also.
Yeah, in fact, just to add on to what, one last add on to just Mr. Bhattacharjee was saying that, today's HR, now this questions like where do you see 5 years, 7 years down the line, I think is completely irrelevant and meaningless. Today the questions which HR needs to ask and is started asking is how do you handle uncertainty? How do you handle complex situations? So this is how the kind of transition which is also happening and should happen from an HR perspective. 5 years, 7 years. So exactly. So thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Now we're going on to Mr. Sameen quickly. So Sameen, let's hear. So let's hear the very young verdict now because he belongs to the new task force which is there and which is going to in whose hands our future lies actually. Yes, Sameer, your take on everything.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am, for inviting, and good afternoon, everyone on the panel and everyone who is listening to me. And as we have got a deep and an immense picture about the current scenario of the COVID, the market scenario, and the industry scenario from our very senior industry experts and leaders. So I would try and emphasize a little bit about the preparations or what students should try and take. So the first thing I would like to emphasize upon is about the setting the expectation right mentally from the student's point of view. It's very important, as Mr. Bhattacharjee very rightly said, that it's not going to be a very hunky dory or a purple patch going out there once you pass out. So you need to set that expectation very right. You need to accept, yes, COVID-19 is a rare exception. It's a global crisis. So the very moment when we say that, we accept the fact that there is a crisis and we accept that there is a problem. So like every other small or big problem, the first step to finding a solution is to accepting a problem, right? So we as students need to accept that. I'm counting myself also as a on the other side of the table, when I'm comparing it with senior industry seniors, right? So we need to understand that fact and accept that fact that it's a tough situation out there, and we need to accept that. So that brings us the first part, that is mental preparation for students. So that also lead us to this solution thing, because once we accept that, only then we can lead towards finding solution. It also leads us to be mentally prepared in terms of to be ready to fight a little longer in terms of finding employability or finding a right solution. So one needs to be little patient and also needs to be adaptable to the situation in a lot of terms, in terms of lot of terms which is required, and your willingness to adapt the crisis and move smartly. So that is one key factor, that is the mental adaptation and mental preparation. So that will give you immense strength to fight this crisis and to carve your way out through this crisis. Another once you are mentally prepared, as we were discussing, we rightly need to figure out what all industries that that has more opportunities in terms of employability. We need to figure out that, and also similarly we can draw parallels, like what are the areas that one has interest in, and then we can match that. If let's say we have a three, what we can do is we can jot down 3 areas of interest that we would want to work out, and then we have a list of industries, let's say 10 industries that is coming up with opportunities, and then we can match that if the areas which we are interested in has that options available. If not, then we can move on to the next option. And if we find the right match, then also we need to look on the required skill set in the current scenario. Do we need to upskill ourselves or reskill ourselves, which is also a very important factor, upskilling and reskilling that we were talking about. A lot of terms, be it a small certificate program, be it online learning, or in various other ways. There are a lot of options available to upskill and reskill ourselves, right? So that is also very important. And also I would say that there should always be, there should always be a long-term and short-term planning, a strategy for students, because you might just survive through crisis, but then if you don't have that strategy, you will struggle post crisis. So as an example, I would say the first, once that mental preparation and finding the right areas and industries is done, the next step should be getting the foot in the door. So as very rightly said, we should not be very much bothered about the kind of job or kind of employability that we're getting it. We should be prepared to get in the foot, whether in terms of internship or a management trainee or entrepreneurship, wherever we can get the real on ground learning, because there's no better learning than an on job training. So there could be a debate wherein one can say that time wherein we don't have job opportunities, management training and the internship might not be a possibility, but I would say there might be a possibility, and there might be slightly more possibilities, because once this crisis, once we open up after this lockdown, there might be requirement for resources, may not be as costly resources is required or affordable, but then management trainees would be could be in kind of vogue, I would say, wherein they could fill in for junior level managers at a very lesser stipend or a no stipend basis. So, but then that will give a very big advantage to the corporates also, wherein they have the resources and manpower to jump back to the money flowing and the reviving of the business, and at the same time giving the students an opportunity to learn on ground, on job. That's the best learning I believe that can possibly happen and take place. So that is the one thing that will happen if you put that take that opportunity of a management trainee or an intern as well. Also, it will give you an opportunity as an advantage, because once this management trainee period or this crisis period of 6 months or 8 months or a year gets over, you'll always be preferred by the companies, provided you position yourself in a better way, in terms of likability, in terms of employability, or in terms of you have upskilled yourself. So you'll be always preferred over the new hiring, because the cost of hiring and reinvestment timing, reinvesting in that time would be costly for the employers. So you'll always be preferred if you are part of that organization, even as an intern. And also, it would be a big add up in your resume. So I would think it as a very positive aspect. Few years down the line, maybe, or even next year also, if you're sitting in an interview wherein this COVID-19 can really boost as a young manager, boost in as a point in a young manager's CV, wherein it can vouch for your immense mental strength and ability to work under pressure if you have survived your way through this crisis. Even as an intern, you're able to find your job, if your internship, your management training, or a startup job, or whatever. If you have managed to survive through this, it will vouch for your immense mental ability and mental strength and ability to work under pressure. So it will always give you an upper hand, and it's gonna be always there on your resume. Even 20 years down the line, you can always show it. You can always be pompous about it. So that is a big add-on. If you look at it that way. And also, talking about the quickly talking about the industries which I think which have offerings or more opportunities would be, I think, of course, pharma or healthcare in general has a lot of opportunities. Healthcare is a very broad category, especially now.
Can I interrupt?
Just quick last one now. Yeah.
I'm getting feelers for the last 5 minutes that we have very little time left, so that's why I had to interrupt.
So okay. So sorry. So we have already discussed the industries that we have in hand, and the last point I would like to say is, as young adults or young MBA pass outs, the biggest strength we have is technology on our hand, our exposure to technology, because it's going to be a technology driven industry going forward for sure. And as we are a lot more exposed to in the technology and a lot more used to technology, and we have that ability to adapt ourselves to technology even in the corporate world. So that will be a biggest advantage that we have and we carry. That's all from my side.
Thank you so much, Samin. And because of the paucity of time, we have to wrap up actually. And though would have loved to have questions from the audience, but I don't think the time is really going to allow us that. So a quick wrap up, as in what we're looking at is adaptability. Adaptability is the buzzword, in the sense that the one who can adapt to multiple changes and could breeze through the uncertain periods that are there is going to be the winner. The demand is for people like them. Plus, the adaptability has to be fast and furious, and technology has to be the buzzword. And without taking a lot of time, I would first like to thank profusely Mr. Hussain and Mr. Bhattacharjee, Mr. Gautam and Mr. Samin for agreeing to participate. And I did not have to say it twice also. And I contacted Mr. Hussain. Mr. Hussain was very gracious. So similarly, Mr. Bhattacharjee, and they have been very supportive. In fact, they have been giving inputs on things and how to go about things. So I'm very, very grateful on behalf of FMS, on behalf of Manav Rachana, on behalf of all the senior functionaries also. You spared some time, took some time out, and gave us such valuable input. I'm so grateful. Mr. Hussain, just a maybe parting note or something that you would like to add or conclude.
Actually, a lot has already been said, and in this tough time, basically, I mean, one last saying that I can say is that the tough time doesn't last, but tough people do. So this is one thing that they have to adapt to, and this is a time which is actually for rebuilding and reskilling, or in fact, developing such skills which will make them agile. So nothing to worry. These are all short term, and people will have anxiety that what is going to happen. So it happens. Every batch where there is a crisis, it has happened, and it's not 2007-8. It happened in 1991. It happened in 80s, which I have seen. The entire batch not getting placed, but they are all CHROs and big shots. These are all short-term blips. Nothing to worry about, and one has to be focused long term, but definitely keeping short term in mind. So all the very best to everyone, including
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Bhattacharya. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
all the
Thank you, Mr.
two
Gautam. Thank you,
panelists.
Sameer.
Thank you,
Oh,
Surabhi.
thanks so much.
Thanks a
Thank you
lot.
for the invite, and thank you for having me, ma'am. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you,
Hussain.
sir.
Thank you so
Wonderful
much.
interaction.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you again.
Gautam, and thank you, Mr. Sameer.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bhattacharya, Mr. Hussain,
Thank-
Samin.
Yeah,
Lovely
Next
thanks
time
interaction.
we'll
everyone.
be
Thanks
going for
everyone.
questions.
Pleasure hearing all of you. So
Thank you.
the continuous,
Thank you, sir.
knowledge that we are getting. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
Thank you so much,
Bye-bye.
Dr. Surabhi.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.